'Cause underneath the armor, I'm still bruised. The days go by.
So, underneath this armor, Juke is still bruised, and the death of Nicole, the verbal and physical abuse she faced at the hands of Marvin, having her mother leave when she was a child, all contributes to this bruising. But slowly the armor of Juke will get stronger, but in the short term, there will definitely be more tough times ahead, whether it comes from her relationship with Marvin, Kenya, or her singing career. So over the course of these next few episodes, we're gonna see Juke searching for the truth about Kenya and her backstory, very similar to how Kanan is gonna do it with Detective Howard, DEFCON, and who his father really is. So we're gonna see him approaching Vernon Stark. But the fact that there are so many lies surrounding Kanan's history and past, something does tell me there's more story with Kenya leaving, and we haven't heard the full truth. And if we have heard the truth, then it's probably only half the story, and half that Rock wants to reveal, because as they say, there's always two sides to a story. We've seen Rock brainwash Kanan with a hell of a lot of lies, and still continues to do so even at this age. And we all know Rock and Juke used to have their girly talks back in the day. So what's to say Rock didn't feed Juke with these similar lies? So I think it's about time Juke and Kenya had a conversation, and that's what they're building up to. So just before we talk about recent events, let's rewind it back to season 1 and remind ourselves of the backstory we've learned so far about Kenya and Marvin's past.
Only yours goes that New York Knicks fuck my baby mama, and then turned around to the whole goddamn league.
So a New York Knicks player slept with Kenya and then passed her around to the whole goddamn league. And that's all we ever heard about Kenya's past in season 1. Now whether or not that's true is yet to be seen, and I'm gonna come back around to this relationship between Juke, Kenya and Marvin later on in this video. So bringing it back to where we are with Juke, we caught up with her in the studio where she was singing a song titled Bruised, and boy can she sing. Crown knows it, and Lou said that's my niece right there. And even though he helped with the music side of things, the lyrics and what was on paper, that all came from Juke, and that's something you can't teach. Juke is someone who's been through a hell of a lot at such a young age, and now she's projecting and expressing this raw emotion through music, but it's not enough.
This is who I am, Uncle Lou. This is me. What you see, that's who I am.
But where I agree with Juke with this is who she is and you shouldn't have to change, I also agree with Lou and Crown. As a singer, your image is everything and you need to look the part. It's basically why Lou decided to bring in Zisa. She can sing and she can look the part. So Lou wants Juke to tap into that inner beauty so everybody else can see it. And maybe this is one of the reasons why Juke's singing career stalls, her unwillingness to change and adapt. But another reason why there's more trouble ahead for Juke and her singing career is because Zisa will steal Juke's song. Maybe not knowingly, but she's gonna remix her song, Bruised. Cartier Farid said the song that they gave Zisa was good, but not good enough for Zisa.
It might even be some kind of hit. But not for this girl. Not for this kind of talent. Now, Zisa needs something bigger. Something with some feeling to it.
So she needs something with that feeling, according to Cartier, and I think we know just a song that has this feeling, Juke's song. Now on Spotify under Powerbook 3 Raising Kanan, we have Juke's song, and we also have a song which is remixed by Zisa. So one can only assume, at some point in the near future, she'll get her hands on Juke's lyrics and produce a remix. Now the question is, who gave her permission to create that remix with Juke's lyrics? Now I can only assume it was Crown, because I highly doubt Lou would give up the hard work his niece put in. Lou is Juke's biggest supporter, and even though he somewhat agrees with Crown, on the image side of things, he just wants what's best for Juke. For example, when it comes to Famous, he said if he comes back to him with better flow, he may put him back in the studio. So he's always pushing his artists to create. But it's also another reason we may see Lou and Crown get into another fight. Zisa creating a remix of Juke's song, which definitely has Crown stink all over. Now, something else which won't help this situation is Rock. Crown overheard the conversation that went down between Lou and Rock, so we saw him approach Rock about buying into the label at next to nothing and having a place where she could clean her money. But what this means for Lou is he'd be forced out and back to work in the street game, and that's what both Crown and Rock have in common. But what impact does this have on Juke? Because if she's not willing to look the part for Crown, then he's someone who I can really see steal Juke's work and giving it to Zisa. So I sit here thinking, Juke's position in the studio and her singing career really is under threat from her unwillingness to change, Rock potentially buying into the label, which forces Lou out, and Zisa taking her hard work. So it's not just about how Lou reacts to Rock's move with Crown. How does Juke react? Because slowly we're watching Rock create an enemy out of each and every single one of her family members, similar to what Ghost did towards the end of Power. He was creating enemies out of everyone, and Juke might be next for Rock. So this is what brings me on to Kenya, and what's the real truth behind her backstory. Now, we've heard how she slept with a Knicks player, but her character description reads, Jukebox's mother and Marvin's ex. She left the family when Jukebox was very young, tried to make it in LA as a singer, but 3 years ago she moved back to New York. Upon her return, she settled in Harlem, where church is now a big part of her life. Now, her character description doesn't reference what Lou said, so what's the truth? And I think this is one of the main reasons Juke has gone looking for Kenya. She feels lost and isolated in this world, and knowing how many lies on top of lies run through her family, I think it's about time she sat down and had this talk with Kenya. And we can't judge a book by its cover. We don't know Kenya's story or why she left, and we might be surprised with what we hear. For example, Rock forcing her out, or Marvin doing something in the past which really isn't beyond Marvin, which I'm sure we've all learned. And so there's a reason why she reacted in this way. We're gonna see Marvin coming face to face with Kenya slapping Marvin across his face. Now, I previously mentioned how Nicole was the only character who was able to bring out Laverne out of Jukebox, but how this is slowly dying after Nicole's death. But maybe Kenya could tap into Laverne as well. She left when Juke was very young, so I highly doubt she knows her as Juke. She is definitely Laverne Thomas to Kenya, but whatever heartbreak is next for Juke, I'm sure her character as Laverne won't last, whether it's with Kenya or anyone else. So let's see what happens with this relationship between Kenya, Juke, and how Marvin gets involved.
I fucked it all up, Lou. Yeah, you did.
So Marvin knows he fucked up, and he's trying to fix things, and I think he's coming to the realization he needs to fix himself first before he can even attempt to repair this relationship with Juke. He needs to be able to control his anger, because eventually when and if Marvin and Juke sit down, there are going to be some home truths that are delivered which Marvin may not like to hear, and he's got to take that shit on the chin and definitely not respond with aggression. So who knows whether we'll see Marvin speak to Juke first or Kenya, but by the looks of it, I would say Kenya, based on Marvin's needs to sort himself out first. But that's a breakdown of where we are with Juke's character in terms of her facing threats to her singing career and studio time. But more importantly, how there's more backstory and history we need to learn. And Kenya's the one who will give us another side to this story. So drop all your thoughts down below on all things Jukebox. And of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.